welcome back to Say It Is with Brandon and Tyler. Tyler has a sub for this episode, being Brad. Work with him over at iHeart. We're in the recording studio today for this one. We were going to do this one on Saturday, but we also had the Badger game going on.
We had a lot going on.
Yeah, and you had to collect highlights during the second half, 15-minute break.
Correct. It was a busy day.
Yeah.
But the Badgers won, though, so we'll take the W.
Yep, and it's like our main focus is back to baseball after the horrific events of yesterday.
Right.
We're not going to revisit that. Tyler and I already shared our bit. Long story short, if you don't want to listen to that, we're just going to summarize it as, if you ever think violence is the answer to anything and you don't care about life when doing that, then your opinion for the most part does not matter at all. However, those people should still be listened to try to change their minds, but that's as far as it goes. Now, since we got that out of the way.
Yep.
Have you ever thought about why ticket prices are going up and up and up, and why is the MLB tickets about to price themselves out like the NFL?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think you and I kind of touched on this the other day, is that I take for an example, I think the example I used was, I saw there was a person looking to attend a game at Target Field in Minneapolis, Twins and whomever, and they were coming in out of town, and literally they were asking the group if it made sense for them to buy tickets in the 300 level because it was affordable per se,
yep,
and then see if they could move down to the 100 level because of that's what they wanted to do. But I think more than anything, going back to the pricing yourself out, people aren't going to games in certain markets. And I think Minneapolis, after their fire sale, i.e. the trade deadline,
trades away half their team.
Pretty much washed their they have those dry erase boards that they give out for lineup cards. I think they completely wiped off that dry erase board.
Well, it's like, on top of that, the owners there, they were $425 million in debt.
They are in debt, and then I saw that they were actively trying to sell, and then they decided not to sell,
and then
now
they did
they're
a partial sell with certain organizations where they're still the majority of owners, but the others are minority.
Yep. So that really kind of created some confusion amongst fans. But I think going back to the fact that the fire sale of the trade deadline really turned a lot of people off. And you have to figure 65%, 70% of ticket sales are season ticket holders.
Something like that.
So going back to the original thought process I had, was this person was trying to buy a ticket at the 300 level because it was affordable. They were asking if they could move down because the seats are more than likely going to be open because fans aren't attending.
Right.
But then they couldn't afford those tickets in the first place, so they thought they would ask if it made sense for them to move down. Well, obviously that goes back to the question. Tickets are overpriced.
Yes.
If you've got a consumer that is saying, well, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to take a risk, a crazy risk, not deadly risk, not, life-ending risk, but a risk of moving in my 300 level seat down to the 100 level because there's open seats there.
Yeah.
Well,
what's going on?
Yeah, what's driving the consumer to have to go that route?
There, you have the demand of tickets because they are growing in fans, but people aren't attending games because of the ticket prices. But they also have limited supplies. They have the whole supply and demand thing.
Right.
Then if you look at last year for the White Sox, at the end of the season, they were basically selling tickets for $10 for nosebleeds. And because no one was attending the games because they're that bad.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're still doing that. I mean,
they went to the front. They're like, hey, we can buy the tickets for the upper decks in the front row because no one's going to be here anyway.
Right. No, and I again wouldn't be surprised if still that's the same thought process going through guaranteed or rate field. Now it's guaranteed, not guaranteed rate, but it's rate field.
Yeah. And then teams do, according to Google, teams do try to use dynamic pricing where ticket prices change based off of anticipated demand for specific games like rivalries, or if, let's say, the Yankees come to town, or Ohtani and the Dodgers.
Yep, agreed.
And then you also have player salaries, which are skyrocketing through the roof. And then you also have the resale markets like Game Time and
SeatGeek is, and I think those are getting a lot of play right now. I mean, I haven't used them recently, but I think you said you might have used them in the recent past.
Oh yeah, no, I've been my dad and I've been using them for the past several years.
Right,
like, we've been able to get seats in the first deck usually, sometimes a few rows away from the field.
Wow.
And then for playoff games, I would tell a group I went been to 2 playoff games ever in my life, and the second one I asked my college radio co-host if he wanted to take his dad to a playoff game.
Okay.
And then we went to a playoff game and we went to the left field bleacher seats. We got the playoff outfield.
But you went at a discounted price.
Yeah, but to an extent, we went to where it said good deal on it, not because their playoff tickets are higher price than normal. Because again, playoffs, it makes sense. Playoffs are playoffs. When we went to the Euchre Celebration of Life game,
just a couple weeks ago, yep.
My dad was like, "Ooh, yeah, we should totally go to that."
Yeah,
and then
rightfully
we took
so.
Tyler to the game, and my dad waited until couple months before getting tickets, and they're already starting to creep up. Well, if he would have gone right as they announced, he would have gotten those tickets for $60 or $70. And by the time we got them, they creeped up just over 100.
Oh, easily, yeah. That was a very high demand, and that was at the same time. That was when the team was going through its sellout phase, and I don't think they're selling out as often anymore, but there was a stretch of 6 or 8 games that they sold out.
And when the Euchre Celebration of Life game was announced, you knew that game was going to be sold out.
Yeah, that was a given. 100% great.
Game.
Yeah, standing room only tickets were going for almost $100, I'm sure, as well. So
yeah, and then with the whole ticket prices with the player salaries, there is a reason why you have 28 of 30 teams where their owners kind of want to put a salary cap in place, but yet at the same time kind of don't.
Okay.
The players like Bryce Harper say, hey, we don't want a salary cap. And the super agents like Scott Boras also don't want a salary cap for obvious reasons.
Right.
Manfred says, yes, there should be a salary cap. Now, the salary cap oftentimes there comes with a floor. Floor would force teams like the Athletics or Pittsburgh to actually invest money in their team to actually make them actually better, so that way people actually want to go to the games.
Yep.
So if they want to navigate that, they should go by a fans first approach.
Sure.
But when that discussion is going to happen after next season,
amongst a bunch of other hot topics that are out there as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to end up causing a lockout.
Winter meetings are going to be very busy. Yes.
Yeah, winter meetings are going to be busy. There's going to be a lockout. It could potentially cancel the 27 season.
So you're serious that the lockout is going to be because of this?
Because of player salaries and
the cap and stuff. Okay. Yeah, I guess I hadn't seen a whole lot, but all right.
Yeah, no, I've been keeping an eye on it.
Okay.
Bryce Harper told Manfred to go F himself. And
so I'm guessing then the current contract ends after the 26th season?
Yes.
Is that why? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's when the current player contract agreement ends.
Wow. They've got a lot to flush out on that. I mean, not only is it just the salary cap, but you've got the whole, automatic umpire thing, and you've got...
ABS is going to be a good change. That's going to be a new challenge.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah, it should be. Now, our player, what they found in the minors is that you have catchers making the other team waste their challenges, where their ABS challenges.
Okay.
Where they would catch the ball and quickly do a dramatic thing to make it look like a ball and make the umpire sit a little bit, is this striker a ball?
They're framing it in the other direction to create a visual. Okay. All right.
And then sometimes players would do their little helmet tap.
I love that. That is such an. It brings me joy to see a player. And I think you and I talked about this the other day. It brings me joy to see a player take control or have the ability to take control of their at-bat. Yes. I mean, yes, they're standing in the box. They are an active player engaged in the game of baseball. But when something doesn't necessarily go the way they think it should, because they're professionals. Yeah. They've seen a baller strike.
They know what it looks like.
Yeah, in their however long their career may be. But for them to be able to say, nope, I want to take that challenge instead of having to wait for whatever angle the manager sees or whatever the replay officials see. So, anyways, I totally got off board, but I love that. I love that the fact that players have control of the question.
Pitchers and catchers can do the same thing too.
Yep.
So I think the ABS challenge system is going to be a good addition to the MLB.
Yep.
However, it does need to be regulated where they have to put a rule in place saying catchers can't do that to try to force the like teams or try to get people to burn their challenges.
Yeah, but let me question that, because we all know that framing is very much a part of the umpire's end decision of where a call and strike is.
Yes.
It has become more and more apparent in the last 3 to 5 years, probably the last 3 years more specifically, that being able to frame a pitch is going to influence the umpire's call. So if a catcher is good enough to frame a pitch to get a call from it, what's wrong with that?
There shouldn't be anything wrong with that, except the strike zone should be universal, where it's like within the width of the plate, and it's between like just under the armpits, letter area to just above like the knee.
I 100% agreed. So that uniformity will be there. So your catcher's going to have to readjust their plan or their position to be able to frame it accordingly. But that's all relative based on the player's height.
Yes.
Right? So again, it's going to fluctuate a little bit more, but it's not going to then have the human part of whatever your strike zone looks like today.
Yeah, no, that because like look how many other sports are universal with their stuff. That would be like, although baseball, yes, is more traditional.
Yep.
And is like significantly older.
Yeah. Right.
That part is something, especially with everything and all the camera angles, and when we watch games, we can see like the strike zone box, like where it should be.
That's the intent, is to show you where it should be.
Yes.
But again, we see more often than not that there are calls outside that box that go.
They're like 3-4 inches
opposite of what they should have been,
because they're like 3-4 inches off the plate or more.
Right.
And then you have pitches that are clearly strikes get called ball.
Right.
And that's where ABS is handy. Now, I think that players shouldn't be challenging stuff willy-nilly if, let's say, it's like a half an inch off the plate.
Mm-hmm.
No, because that's a borderline area.
Yep.
It just clips the box.
Right.
It could go either way.
Yep.
It's when it hits like 1.5, 2, 3, 4 inches where I'm like, all right, maybe you should do the ABS challenge.
Okay. No, and I think that's fair, but I think it's something that, as a catcher, you're going to see it firsthand.
Yes.
So whether you feel that whatever your picture of that strike zone frame is, if you're confident enough to call it, I mean, that's you. Because that's the one facet of a catcher, is that you're calling the game per se. I mean, 90%, well, not even, probably closer to 50% of the time, you're calling it, and you see it more often than not that the pitcher counts on you to call the game.
Yeah.
Besides being a good batter to play in the game. So if you've got the skills to be able to understand what your strike zone should look like and can frame it, I'm not, you know what? I don't have those kind of reflexes. It's like the same reflexes you see as a second baseman or a shortstop starting a double play, that literally the ball comes at them above their head and their arm automatically goes from their head to their hip to the ground and tags the batter. I don't know that that's a normal movement. I mean, that is something that is learned.
Yes.
So if you can do that, again, that's the same thing with the catcher. If you could figure out how to frame and make it look normal, like a normal action, a lot of catchers are good at that. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, if they really push on restricting the amount of calls that the catcher can really change.
That's fair. That would be interesting.
Yep.
Now, do you have an idea what you think an appropriate cap and floor would be for a salary cap situation? Because the other three major sports have a salary cap.
They do, and I think to the NFL and their player minimums is like, last I looked, it was over 300,000. I don't know. It's probably closer to 400 now.
Baseball is, I think, currently at 740 or 760,000, and then they get taxed at 50% rate, so they only get to keep like half of that.
So in terms of what those caps should be, I mean, I really think it goes on the team. I don't know. I mean, each team is going to be able to spend and put income and really provide whatever their actual revenues are.
And then they also have that revenue sharing as well.
Correct. So all of them get hit with that. So what can you afford? I mean, afford is a really, really vague term in terms of baseball.
Because you also have like really cheap owners as well.
You know what? It's no secret that the Pirates organization is not going to make money playing baseball.
No, they should trade Paul Skeens because they're wasting his career already.
You know, I thought that initially, but let Paul Skeens build his story himself without an organization that is flashy like the Yankees or flashy like the Astros or the Dodgers, or let him build his story in Pittsburgh. His value will triple by the time he ends his rookie contract because he built his story himself. And I think that's important. And I really think that's where he's really digging in to the culture in Pittsburgh and really becoming a part of that community. So they all know, this is Paul Skeens. This is what I do, is play baseball, and I do it really, really, really well.
He's going to be the Cy Young.
Oh, yeah. No, without a doubt. He's got every tool available to him, and he's proving it day in and day out. Whether his team wins or not, he is putting out his best effort and damn good baseball on a regular basis.
And his ERA is what, just under 2?
And
it's like 1.98 or something.
And you go look at the stats, and that is unheard of.
Yeah, like
that's not even attainable for most pitchers.
Well, if you want like other like things that are unheard of, most catchers in the modern day can't hit above like 230, 240.
Well, right.
And then you have Cal Raleigh, who's hitting 250 with over 50 bombs.
Who's going to break a home run record here in the next 7 to 10 days, or at least he's going to tie Mantl's record.
And then after
he's
that
at 53
and then
now.
After that is Griffey,
and then 56, right?
And then after that is trying to tie or pass Judge, which probably won't happen.
Judge is what, at 66?
Judge's record, I think, is 62.
Is that okay?
But Judge at the same time this year was hurt for part of the year. When he came back, he was DHing only for quite a while.
Yeah.
And at that time, he was only hitting like 220. So then it goes into the AL MVP debate: is it Cal or is it Judge?
Well,
because
you know what?
Cal is a catcher who's doing like a platinum great catcher.
He is setting a precedent, which is so weird to say in this day and age in baseball. That one, you've got a guy in a market that really doesn't get a lot of recognition. The Mariners market is what it is. Yep. I mean, you've got a lot of great baseball fans in Seattle and a lot of support along that West Coast, but If you asked me who the starting first baseman was for the Seattle Mariners, there's a chance that I don't know.
But then again, because their trade deadline, we know it's currently Josh Naylor, but what's it going to be after that?
See, and I didn't even know that, which is that's how much I pay attention to it. But two, the sentiment of an MVP is most valuable. Are you valuable to the team and the division and or baseball? So I'm going to put all my money on Raleigh. He is exactly that. He checks all three of those boxes to be valuable to baseball nonetheless.
And he's setting records as a catcher.
Right.
Switch hitting catcher is
so
that.
I don't think there's any doubt that, unless the guy falls apart in the next 8 weeks, which we've all seen it happen. I mean, there's a very good chance something happens. I'm not even going to say if it's an injury or anything because I'll probably curse the guy. I have that kind of luck. But if something right now, he should be hands down MVP.
And Judge being number 2 at that point.
Why not? Who else Judge, you got? Who else you have in the AL that is?
It's only Judge and Cal for the discussion.
Sure.
Judge, if he's out, then the Yankees can't hit.
Right.
And we know the Yankees bullpen is useless.
Right. I think as Milwaukee fans, I think that is a very well known topic. Yes.
It's like yes, sends over a Delvin Williams, who he hasn't recovered since Pete Alonso hit that home run.
Pete Alonso wrecked that guy's brain.
He wrecked his brain.
I mean, he really did. And I mean, I go back to that and the conversation where he punched the wall and broke his hand the year before, 2 years before, and I'm like, it's just rough. So anyways, going back to the MVP conversation, I think it's without a doubt Raleigh.
Right. And I know we already knew about halfway through the season it's Ohtani and Skeens.
Well, okay, so
for the MVP Cy Young. And then AL Cy Young, is it Skubal or is it Garrett Crochet of Boston?
Again, I go back to that valuable part, and I mean you're seeing things. You're seeing this Detroit team do things that, again, nobody expected. Yeah, they did it last year. They snuck into the playoffs last year.
And now they ran out there at the division.
I know, and I think every baseball fan was surprised as I was that all of a sudden we're talking Detroit in the second round of the playoffs last year. Yeah. I mean, okay, great. I love Comerica Park. I love Detroit sports, but man, I think it's cool because, again, he's supporting that team in this forward effort they got going on right now.
I mean, Yeah.
Right. But then going back to the conversation about teams spending money, obviously we know Pittsburgh is never going to make money.
No.
So
I mean, Detroit makes money, but they're also mid-market.
They're
team.
right in that same category. Cleveland's another one that's in
Mid-market
that.
team.
Yeah, that is in that mid-market team. Well, what can they afford?
They can every once in a while afford to spend like maybe $300-400 million on a player.
Right.
But once they do that, they can't do that again
It's
for another 10
it's
to 15 years.
3 to 6 years before they find anybody that one wants to come to Cleveland. I mean, it's questionable in itself.
Right now, like, why do you want to go to Cleveland? Yeah, Jose Ramirez is there, and
right.
he gets paid like 30-some, 40-some million dollars a year to just exist in Cleveland.
Yep.
And others, they don't have anything.
But yeah, I think going back to that conversation about the cap, I mean, I really think that there's, it's a really big discussion, and it should be very fluid. And I don't know what the conversations are right now, what it looks like. But I feel that needs to be a lot of the floor. Absolutely, there should be a floor in there. And
I would say a floor of $90 million, because let's look at Tampa. They field a team about $90 million a year, and they are a bunch of nobodies.
You're talking as on a team level. Okay.
Yeah, it's
shoot.
Yeah.
I was thinking player level. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A $90 million team is well within reach. Right. I mean, you've got a handful of them between 75 and 95 right now.
And then like a team cap would be
3 times that. I
would say put it at 220 for the first 3 years, and after that increase it to 240 for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
and then grandfather in the current contracts, and let those contracts expire, filter out, and that's how I would do it.
Yeah, I mean, you almost gotta.
That way you have that way you disperse the talent,
right,
and more teams have a chance to get and do something.
Okay, so then that brings up a whole other thought process about. What is if the Yankees are willing to spend money on you but would go above the cap, why would the Yankees be more interested in paying a fine or a fee by going above the cap to sign that talent, or are they more interested to stay within the confines of the cap and the floor, just so that that thought process of spreading out talent is being achieved?
Yeah, again, this is like a hard cap we're talking, not the soft cap of the luxury tax.
Okay.
The Yankees right now try to avoid the luxury cap as taxes at all costs, which is they're the Yankees. They have unlimited money.
Correct.
The Dodgers they're well above the luxury tax. They have like $1 billion in like deferred payments. So they mortgage their future.
You're right. They continue to. Yeah, and that's no different.
Yeah, and Steve Cohen of the Mets just pumps his own money into the franchise.
He does, and unfortunately for the guy, he's been more missed than hit in the last 2 years.
He's going to spend another like $800 million on some other guys.
And I don't understand it. I mean, you know, I get it. You have to play with the Joneses, and the Joneses right now in New York are the Yankees, so you have to play in that ball game. But man, I mean. I didn't think Citi Field was that expensive a stadium. It was built probably 10 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
So I don't think it was that expensive. But I mean, is it really the taxes that are driving? Okay, so you're going to spend all this money on more players, and again, go back to our original conversation about pricing fans out of tickets. You're going to end up with half-empty stadiums, which I don't know now. Is Citi Field being filled for the Mets? I
haven't.
I find it hard to believe it would be.
I haven't checked a stream off the MLB TV. Or MLB app in a while.
Right.
Like I don't because I focus more when I'm watching games on small and mid-market teams. I ignore the Cubs, I ignore the Dodgers, I ignore the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Now when we look at like the salary caps of like I know for sure like NBA and NHL that they can do trades to go above the cap if they're if they're a rental.
Okay.
I think that's how that works.
Okay.
Now I would define a rental as someone who's on the team for like either half a season or a year and a half, like within that range.
So they've got a less than 2 years left on their contract per se.
Yeah, and they're traded to another team. That I would call that a rental.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. And that would make sense. But I mean, you don't want to discourage that because, I mean, as Milwaukee fans, we knew what that CC Sabathia was. That's exactly what he was.
Yeah, he was a rental.
He was a rental. Everybody knew that.
Moustakas was a rental. He was with the team for a year and a half.
Yep.
What other rentals can you think? I'm missing like other bunch of rentals.
Yeah, probably. I mean, but I think that's a prime example. So you don't want to discourage that because it gives teams like Milwaukee or whomever, what other mid-market team finding a a gem, if you will, to finish out the season and make a run that was pretty special in Milwaukee history. So. But it was well known that after 6 months, CeCe was not going to be living in Milwaukee. He was going to be nowhere near the Brewers organization, and that's fine. But if you can at least incorporate something like that, I think that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, because that's the fun of the trade deadline too. I mean,
I love the trade deadline.
Right
now, I do to an extent. I do miss the waiver trades because you could get something like the Verlander trade of 2017 that sent him from Detroit over to Houston.
Right.
That was like holy crap.
Right. Yep.
And as we know, Verlander's going to go on Hall of Fame like Scherzer and.
Absolutely, he should. I mean, the man has been a workhorse his entire career, and no matter what stadium he's pitching in, he's done well. I mean, you didn't want to face Verlander in Detroit or Houston for that matter. I mean,
he was in with the Mets for a little bit, but then the Mets were like, "Yeah, we need offloads.
We need some cap space."
I think that was before Steve Cohen.
Probably,
because
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, here's a $500 million check.
Here's your empty blank paycheck. Take what you need out of it. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I mean, he both him and Scherzer have been workhorses, and I admire their careers because they're still playing amongst a bunch of young players who are throwing faster than them, throwing harder than them, but
pitching
still,
age is like fine wine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like the average hitter, their production starts dropping after age 30, age 31.
Yeah.
Pitchers, they have a significantly less of a decline, and that decline starts a little later.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they're 45, they're still able to be somewhat useful. Even at that point, they should be relegated to a bullpen role.
Right. So, if even at all. I mean, that's at 45 years old. If you're playing baseball, you've treated yourself very well. You've taken care of yourself very much.
And there was like a couple of pitchers in history that made it 250 or almost 250 pitching in the league. So
but you got to go back 30 years.
Yeah, you got to go to do Nolan Ryan. And then you had there was a guy who pitched for Colorado who ended his career at age 47 or 48. The current guy who might do that is Rich Hill, who's like 44. 45.
Yeah, I think he's only played with like 12 teams or something. He has been a journeyman at to the definition.
Yeah, to the definition. And then Charlie Morton, he has like years like where he like in his later years where he was just absolutely phenomenal. Other years where he was just kind of there, and he's like 39, 40, and he's still
so viable.
He's still viable.
And that's the part that amazes me is that you've got all these younger starting pitchers that go 5 innings, maybe 6,
and then it's like,
then you got this old guy coming in and says, "Yeah, I'll throw 7. Don't come at me until 7 is done," or unless I have an absolute disaster happen.
Yeah. Now, have you ever heard of or played the baseball management sim of OOTP or Out of the Park?
I've seen it, and I've always been interested to do it, but I know that I have to be fully vested in terms of time and brain-wave bandwidth.
There's a lot of stuff on that screen.
I'm sure there is, and that's
I've been like I used to do it every other year, but then recently I started doing more major updates. So whenever there's a major update or a couple years, and then there's enough roster changes, where all right, time to get into the new version.
Yeah.
I ended up getting the new version, and
okay.
And it's like, all right, now I can set some of the rules. So I'm going to implement a salary cap, and then I do a couple other things, and I can get a borderline championship franchise to win a World Series in like 2 or 3 seasons. After that, they're winning 110 games per year.
Wow!
But I also do is I'll go through and I'll look at the numbers of what's currently, and look at the numbers that they're projecting on OTP. I'm like, that seems a little off. Let's bump these numbers to the averages and make things more accurate. And then they tank the pitcher's defensive abilities and OTP. I'm like, those guys are not terrible defense. Let's just bump these up just slightly and then go from there.
Yep. And see, that's the part that I know I need to have that focus and bandwidth to be able to do.
You do have to know how to build to simulate contract talks and that stuff too, where you're all right, player wants X amount of dollars, and then you have certain incentives, but they don't have all the incentives that they actually have in real life.
Right.
There's only 3 or 4 options, but it's pretty cool. My dad and I do it every year, and we run that save file for 4 or 5 in-game seasons.
Okay.
And There's a lot. He writes on a piece of paper because he looks at the screen because I have no idea what the hell's going on. I'm like, all right, let me look at this and let me just. All right, this is what's going on.
That's amazing. I mean, and what was I think the NFL tried to do something like that at one point. NFL coach or something.
Whatever.
It was. Yeah, I mean, they tried to do some type of simulation, but it makes so much more sense to do with baseball because your number of factors that play into that game are
coaches.
Yeah,
and you also have to manage your minor system where you have to set the coaches for that.
So 3-4 levels of additional full rosters that you need to understand who's doing what and when and where. And
well, it's like so you can also choose if you want to manage the whole thing yourself, or you can have the AI managers kind of do that for you.
I would hope. I mean, that's a lot.
What I do is I say, all right, so firing like major league coaches and hiring major league coaches and level that I do.
Right.
If it's something like 40-man roster, like major league roster, I'll manage that.
Right.
Saying the lineups and who
your
does
rotation
what, and like the rotation, like those roles, I'll primarily manage that.
Okay.
But for let's say the coaching roles, I'll have the AI do that where it would set the team manager.
Okay.
I would, and if someone is, let's say in the minor league system says like, hey, this guy's ability for coaching is poor or terrible, I go like, all right, you're fired. Go back through, hire everyone who's moderately decent.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you can get a thing where a former player, or you have to sometimes just be like, hey, I think that guy would used to be interested in coaching in the past, so you turn him into a coach, and they'll sometimes just generate the stats and go like, and if you don't agree with those stats, then you just adjust those accordingly.
Sure.
But you have to do that underneath commissioner mode, where you have too much power in commissioner mode, where you can actually really abuse the system.
Oh, I'm sure.
So you can create some really
that's the
lopsided
intent,
trades.
is that you can
do whatever you want.
Yeah,
at that point.
you could fluctuate and influence.
So I'll do is I will actually keep that mode on. However, what I do with that is I'm like, all right, I'm only going to touch this if absolutely need be,
right?
Or if I need to adjust numbers because some numbers way far off.
It just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
No, it's on my checklist to do, and now that you've explained it even further, I'm like, all right, I guess I need to invest a Saturday just to dive into it.
And you spend 40, somewhere between $30 and $50 for the
whichever platform you're on. Yeah,
I do it on PC. It's primarily on PC. You just go off the.
Because I think you can do it on Xbox too.
I don't think so. I think
maybe
it's on
not.
PC.
Now, do you get it from Steam or is it?
I go off of Steam, but you can also go on the OOTP website.
Got it. Okay, I have seen it on Steam now that you mention it, and that's probably where, because I get on Steam enough that there's a few other.
And they have a hockey one of the kind
really?
too. I'm interested in trying that.
Geez,
we'll talk about hockey when we're in the middle of hockey season.
Yeah.
Tyler will be here for that, where you'll just end up being guest rather than filling in for him.
Nice.
But
no, it's good, cool. And it's amazing. You have to give credit to the producers of the game to be able to take that and put it within reach.
Yes.
I mean, really put it within the fans' reach, because that, to me, that's a lot of the I'm going to use an old cliche. That's a lot of insider baseball there.
There's a lot going on.
Nobody talked about, contracts and commissioner opportunities and manager roles. And I mean, I think now we're getting more and more of an insight of it just with the metrics conversation.
Sabermetrics.
Yeah, we're actually, people are admitting, saying, yeah, we do use data to run our operation.
And Milwaukee is they're gone so far with sabermetrics where they're shaking hands with old school baseball.
Oh, heck yeah. And you love it. I mean, and that's where.
And then you have the other teams that aren't doing that, where they're not going that far.
Right.
And they're doing the 3 or 4 true outcomes where it's home run, walk, strikeout, or maybe a double.
Yep. Well, I guess that's what I mean. Is nobody ever talked about this before, and it was never really a topic of conversation. But really, to put something like that into the avid fan hands is amazing. So I would be curious, and maybe you know this: are there true major league executives that consult on that game? They have to.
I don't know if they do.
I mean, you would. Who else knows this stuff?
There's not as much in depth as. Because it's pretty in depth, but it's not as in depth as like actually doing in real life with creating like. Extra
Well, okay, so then is it a couple of interns who have read the MLB baseball rule book and
I don't know.
and decide? You know what I mean, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
you really have to
I would
understand
love to
it.
learn how they came with the idea of like, hey, let's release the simulator.
You have to understand what is you're talking about and how you're going to present it,
Yeah.
and what control you're going to give before you can actually put it out there, because there's going to be a fan that says, nope, that is absolutely incorrect, and I can't believe they put this option in
It's
there.
like, let me just fix. Now you can, on OOTP, you can also hit the live start button,
Okay.
and that'll give you the current stats and newer projections.
Sure, why not? I mean,
which is kinda
updates
cool.
are easy. I mean, that's
Yeah, they have it auto set for like auto calculate.
Sure.
Probably is my guess for like coding make life easier because
Yep.
otherwise that's way too much. And they have up until opening day of the next season to release it anyways.
Wow, yeah.
Um,
Well, of course. I mean, you're going to
yeah.
get your most updated stats out of the.
And actually, what I did like at the start of the season, I did simulate a thing like, okay, let's say if I did a thing where I controlled Pittsburgh and I did Paul Skeens trade. Now the only team that could afford Paul Skeens at that trade capital at the time was the Dodgers.
Sure. Yeah.
And to get Paul Skeens, they would have had to give up 10 players. By doing that trade and doing a couple of signees or signings, within 3 or 4 seasons, Pittsburgh won a World Series by just trading with
Heck yeah.
Paul Skeens.
But you see that all too often, though. Is that when you refill your minor league board, that 3 years is what it takes to get through the system,
Yeah,
except
on
for
average.
when you're Cheerio or Made.
Mate, he was already in AA.
Yeah, who jumps them. But it takes 3 years to build that. And yeah, how many times have you seen and I'm probably going out on a limb here, but I think the Cubs, that's how the Cubs end up winning the World Series, right?
Like
They had their system built. Yeah, they got a few stars in there, but I think they had enough internal players that grew with the system.
And now we have Milwaukee with the best farm system in the league, and they're running, and their year-to-year like salary that's on the field is usually around like 110 to 130 mil. Like within that range.
Right.
It goes up to 130, 135 when you include the trades, but otherwise it's around like 110 to 120.
Okay.
They are listed as the number 3 front office behind Tampa and the Dodgers.
Sure.
And Tampa's, we know, they do miracles with 90 mil.
But if you kind of take 10 steps back from the Tampa League, who doesn't want to play baseball in Florida all year round? I mean, really?
It's like Florida's just has that type of weather where you can.
Yeah.
And with Tampa going to be eventually moving out of St. Petersburg over to Tampa proper, where more people can actually attend games.
Well,
I've heard that going to the Trop is a nightmare. Trying to get there
it is, and they've pretty much given up on it, and I think they're probably in talks to stay at Steinbrenner Field for maybe another year. But what's the latest on that? It hasn't been much of a topic of conversation.
Yeah, all I know is that they're getting new ownership who's planning on taking to Tampa proper next. That sale's completed at the sometime this month.
So you're going to put them next to the football stadium there, or
that I don't know. And then there's a guy who was a part of the organization that was trying to get an MLB team in Orlando, who may or may not have left that and became part of the Rays ownership.
Okay, so he's got some influence on the Florida Sports Commission then to be able to say, hey, yeah, this is the reason why we're making this move. Okay.
Yep. And then when it comes to MLB expansion, you also have the whole realignment debate. And
you know what? I see all these alignment opportunities online.
You're more of a traditionalist, so how would you do it?
You know what? I'd love to see the commission, the major league, follow what the fans are saying makes sense. But it's not going to happen. It is not. I mean, you know what? If we talk about the Central Division alone, it's Minnesota, it's Chicago, it's Milwaukee and Detroit. If you throw a fifth one in there or sixth one in, either St. Louis or Cleveland. St. Louis has got a little bit more opportunity to move to this further south, but
at the same time,
and
MLB
Cleveland could go east. So
MLB also knows that their marketing also helps with when having historical rivalries like the Cubs in St. Louis, or the
True.
Dodgers, Yankees, San Francisco.
Yep, and that makes
Dodgers.
sense. But really, so then you're going to say that the rivalry between the Twins and the White Sox is going to pay some bills? I doubt it.
Oh,
but,
no, I doubt it.
But
the Brewers and Cubs are paying bills.
yes, they are. They always do.
The Padres and Dodgers are paying bills.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything that in the AL East that comes close to Boston Yankee.
No,
there
no,
isn't.
No.
And then in the NL East, you have the Mets and Phillies, but Atlanta's also kind of in there. But no matter what, after having that fourth division, having a South,
you have to.
Atlanta's
you have to push
going
them
away,
out. Yeah,
no
you have
what.
to push them out. And I think the part that I think that's interesting with Atlanta is yes, they have built some rivalries, but they've built how many new stadiums in the last 20 years?
And the most recent one was just in the northern part of Atlanta.
Right. Yeah. You and I were looking at that the other day.
Yeah.
But I think Atlanta Atlanta's one of those teams to me that feels like it can just it can assimilate to wherever it ends up.
Yes.
And it will, and we all know it's going to be a leader. It's going to be in the top 2 or 3 in whatever division they end up. But whether they switch to playing the American League, I mean, they would find that's how good that organization is.
Yes.
Is that they have no.
I do like the Atlanta organization.
Yeah, they have no. They're not. Blue bloods of the National League, or they're not.
Like at the same time though, hearing the sound of American League champ Atlanta Braves just sounds wrong.
It sounds weird, but if that's the way it falls out, I think that's certainly an option, and I think it'd be great.
What do you think they're going to keep the NLL, or because those are just basically like NFL style conferences at this point, or do you think they're going to go East-West like NHL?
No, I think that part of tradition will stay.
Okay,
and I think the divisions obviously the divisions will change.
The NL AL Centrals are going to be gone. It's going to become North and South.
Yeah, or whatever. They could do legends and leaders like the Big Ten tried once, and
whatever.
Everybody still shakes their head over it. But
and then do you do with let's say, and then where would you put the franchises? Because most popular ones I've been seeing is Nashville or Charlotte, and then you have Portland and Salt Lake City.
It's so tough. I'm 100% on board with Nashville. In fact, I was in the Nashville area a couple of weeks ago, and I was actually in Murfreesboro, just south of Nashville, and a couple of people I were talking to said that Murfreesboro is the fastest growing city in the U.S. right now. So that means people are going there, and I don't think it's any secret that literally, and I think it's finally being talked about, which is funny, but literally Nashville is taking business away from Vegas.
Yes.
So people are going to Nashville because it's affordable. For now, but they're going to Nashville to have fun, to find whether it be the music scene or the entertainment scene or the sports team. I mean, Nashville is very, very well endowed with sporting teams and good ones at that. So I'm all on board on Nashville. If you follow the Carolina Panther football team organization, it just kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah, it's like, do you really want to do that to baseball?
Well, right, but I mean, I understand that they want to put it in that location. I just don't think that fits. I really think
Nashville fits.
Yeah.
Now I know the national mayor doesn't want any publicly funded stadiums anymore. Okay, fine. Do what the NFL, like what that guy in the NFL did with the Rams, and they're like, all right, here's SoFi, privately funded.
Yep, just outside of the city.
There's going to be enough people in Nashville where there's going to be
some good money in Nashville.
And there's going to be people who are being like, all right, let's do a privately funded.
Oh, heck yeah. And it would be like SoFi. It would be an entertainment mecca. I mean, it wouldn't just be a stadium. It would literally be a place for concerts and outdoor festivals and baseball too. Yep. I mean, the place would probably have a roof on it. So they could do events all year long.
It's either that or a retractable roof.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't spare any expenses because they know that Nashville is right on that climate, edge where it could snow. It probably won't snow, but
if it snows, it's going to melt immediately.
It's going to melt immediately, but still having a roof is a big deal.
Yes.
So, I'm all in on Nashville.
And then for the western half, would you go Portland or Salt Lake? Because Salt Lake is growing quite a bit, especially like they just got the hockey team that moved there.
I don't know that Salt Lake is ready for it yet. I think Portland could support it.
But at the same time, look at the crap that's going on with Portland, where they have like all the crime and whatnot there.
Yeah, but that really doesn't hurt Seattle, though. I mean, Seattle is kind of in that same odd, okay, our downtown isn't great, but we got some really awesome sports teams and great scenery and some good beers, and so Seattle seems to support it. Portland to me feels like the best opportunity.
Okay, and then with the and the Nesbitt map has the most friendly map, and I believe Rob Manfred asked Nesbitt to create a map and put in the Athletic.
Okay.
That has everything how it currently is. Creates the South divisions. Has Colorado and Tampa swap leagues.
Okay.
And with that, it's like Colorado would be becoming part of the AL South with the Royals, Houston, and Texas.
Okay.
And then, Tampa would be in division with likely like in Nashville and Atlanta and the Marlins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The NL West would comprise of the rest of the NL West teams are still there. AL West, the same thing.
Yep.
Except the AL West gets the expansion team of Portland or Salt Lake.
All right.
Now you have, I like to say it was Trevor Plouffe put out a map where he did East-West, and then put Arizona in the same division as Houston and Texas, and put Colorado in the division of Salt Lake. So at that point, do you keep Colorado, Arizona in the NL or AL, and then, or it's moving to the AL, and then would you put Colorado or Arizona in the same division as Salt Lake and Seattle?
I don't. It kind of goes back to my comment on Atlanta.
Yep.
They could go anywhere. Really, Colorado and Arizona haven't been around long enough to really create any sort of true rivalry or meaningful.
And Colorado's just Colorado, like the Rock, like Denver is the best. Like Coors Field is literally the best bar in Denver.
It is. If you've ever been there, it is absolutely wonderful. I mean, you know what? I went there, probably 10 years ago, and besides the fact it's a beautiful stadium, the beer is great. And the one thing I remember is that they had chocolate covered bacon as one of their stands. I mean, it was an all out concession stand. Anyways, that's beside the point.
It's a giant bar.
It is. It's so fun. It's such a great place, and that area of Denver is actually pretty good too.
And that team is in the middle of nowhere.
Right. So that's why I say there's no love lost from Colorado or Arizona.
Yeah,
I mean, shoot, what has the chaos in Phoenix and Arizona really done to sports in general? I mean, the whole Phoenix Coyote thing had to have been just a black eye on Phoenix sports. I mean, you don't really hear much about the Cardinals anymore. You don't hear much about the Suns. I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, during seasons,
the only
is a different
thing you
story.
may hear of is Diamondbacks, and that's it.
Right, and even then, it's not nearly a topic of conversation. They don't get me wrong. 10 years ago, they had literally plans to take over Phoenix and Tempe and make it a sports gigantic arena, if you will. Yeah. They were making plans to put more sporting arenas in there for whatever other reasons, and now they couldn't even keep the hockey team.
No.
And the whole hockey thing, I think you and I have talked about this. There's so many people from Wisconsin that are hockey fans that have moved to Arizona, hence the reason Arizona State has an awesome hockey team.
Yeah, we'll be visiting the hockey topic later in the hockey season.
So I don't want to talk too much about it. But again, going back to the fact that Arizona and Colorado have no allegiance to anyone, that they could fit wherever. And I think a lot of teams just enjoy going to Colorado. So really, if you switch it up with the AL, it'll be another look at it. And shoot, probably 15, 20 years, Colorado may go back to the NL.
After looking at Trevor Plouffe's map, which at the same time does break up historic rivalries to an extent, so I thought the map was kind of sucky in that regard. Yeah. I could see argument putting Arizona or Colorado in the AL while putting Tampa in the NL. But you put the Colorado in the AL West with Seattle and the expansion team.
Yeah.
That those teams are much more closer together, where it's also more regionally based, which is what Manfred would probably want.
Right, and you're gonna get a fan base that is more regionally based.
Yeah, and you'll have more rivalries created that way.
So where do the A's end up then?
A's would be in the same division as Seattle, the expansion team, Colorado, and
okay. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, that to me feels like the league that would be just for the fan that hasn't necessarily locked on anybody, but just likes good entertaining baseball. You're going to have a brand new stadium in Las Vegas. If they do end up in Utah, they're going to be a brand new stadium there.
Yep. Nashville.
Right. Seattle is a beautiful stadium. I mean, it's newer. It's not brand new. So why not? I mean, you're going to see a lot of fans go to those ballparks and realize what new baseball looks like.
And then Atlanta would have to actually share their market.
Right. Well, that too. Yeah.
Which is going to be huge. Because Atlanta dominates the entirety of Southwest, excluding Florida.
There's a lot of Florida people that drive to Atlanta to see good.
That's true, because Atlanta's just that good of a franchise.
It is. Absolutely, it is.
And the Atlanta leaving Milwaukee from decades ago.
Yep.
That was a huge controversy in and of itself.
It was, but it seems as though it didn't affect the goal of the Atlanta organization, which they just continue to be successful.
Exactly.
So
I'd say it's about time to run the plane. Thank you for filling in.
Absolutely.
Tyler.
Thank you for asking.
I have trombone choir I have to get to, and supper and all that stuff, and it's a 30-minute drive from the studio to
100%. Yep.
So you can listen to us at on the 3 major platforms of iHeart, and then the other 2 being like Spotify and Apple.
Yep.
You can listen to us on YouTube, although that's where on YouTube is where you find the exclusive stuff for the trombone choir videos, where you can listen to select pieces. And then you can contact us at letschatbt@gmail.com. Go on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Follow the announcement page on Facebook, as I call it, Fakebook. Join the Facebook community group. There's a Discord we basically don't use.
Yep.
And you can just communicate and interact with us there.
Yeah, or tune in next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Tune in next time. It's usually a weekly upload anyways, and after the baseball season is done, we're looking at moving to bi-weekly.
Okay.
But it's either way, you can find us, listen to us while you're driving, whenever you want.
Yep.
Nature of podcasting.
Absolutely. And if you want to just hear something different, plug us in. Yeah, turn us on.
Because baseball regular season, it's a weekly baseball podcast, and then we do current events, sports, and video game news during the off season, playoffs, and the spring training.
Cool.
And now, before we go, the one last thing popped in my brain.
Yep.
When the lockouts happen, the only thing we might be able to watch is minor league baseball.
And that's fine by me. I am a
minor league baseball
I'm a huge
fan.
minor league. That's fine by me.
Yeah.
I'm in.
It's just something to think about. And you got to watch the games on MLB app.
Perfect.
I'm ready. All right.
Thanks, Brandon.
Of course. Thank you for joining us, Brad.
You're welcome.
And hear from you also. See you else next time, however you want to word it.